Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Telling It Like It Is. My name is Jade Alberts, the founder of Peer Guidance. We're a purpose before profit group that loves giving back, helping companies grow. We're an on demand service. So if you need anything, just reach out. We're there. We're here to help. And that's what we do. Scrolling across the bottom, I want to put it out there. Working with the Calgary Chamber of Commerce, we're going to be having a Mental Health Monday event on October 20th. Shortly, the link will be in the comments section. Get in there, sign up, come look at it. You know, it's okay not to be okay, like the shirt. We'll get into a little mental health discussions today, but I am excited about that event. There's no fluff. It's none of that shit. It's come in and let's have some, discussions about entrepreneurship. And, speaking about today, I'm excited about, having this conversation. Not only is it a business, I have just met Ryan. We've become online friends. I'm looking forward to meeting him in person, fellow Sasky. But everybody knows that I wear my mental health on my shoulder. I talk about it. I stress it, whether it be everything from addictions to suicide to what our family went through. So, I suffered in silence. I know what it did to me, and I don't want that to be for anybody else. So when I saw Ryan's story, I reached out right away. And, I'm so grateful that you're on here today, Ryan. I know we'll get into, all of this great stuff. But again, hey, thank you for being here.
Hey, well, thanks for having me, Jade. Likewise.
Yeah, well, it's, you never know. Like, this is one of those conversations that's just popped up. I wanted to get you on right away. The story is great. The story, your business is great. The way you're running it, the way like we'll get it. Oh man, I'm just pumped. Like I got goosies right now. Wanting
No,
to talk about this. So
yeah,
let's. You know what? Why don't you start off? Give us a little background about yourself, and I'm going to let you have this platform to kick off how you want to start this.
sure. Yeah, like, with your own story, like you mentioned, I think we kind of connected right away. Like I noticed that and can relate to a lot of stuff that you've been through, and it's inspiring for myself too, right? But yeah, my own story with the mental health and addictions, like it's a roller coaster, man. Like where everything started and how things progressed and where I am today is just it's on its own, right? But yeah, I'll start. Um, Basically, like I grew up, raised by a single mom, and saw her go through all the challenges, and she provided like more than enough for us, right? But growing up without that complete family, I think that was maybe the start of it. um, that hole that was kind of missing inside. And then as I got into adulthood, I kind of made a promise to myself that I didn't want that. I wanted to have that family, that completeness, right? And next thing I'm a single dad myself, as a with a 2-year old daughter, and that was kind of a breaking point for me. I had to start all over, and it was a blessing at the same time. Like I was, raising my daughter full time, 50-50 joint custody. So it was like a week on, week off situation. And I did that for 10 years. And, until I met my now wife. But looking back, like, the weeks with my daughter were great and amazing, diapers, daycare, dinner, like I did it all. And it was hard. And the weeks off, that's kind of where my depression and everything evolved, right? Like I felt like a failure. I was depressed. Just I felt like I failed, and as a father and stuff like that, right? And I just was dealing with that. So that built, and I used alcohol as a way to cope, right? And so my weeks off, like I was alone. I had nobody no support, and I didn't reach out to anybody. I didn't talk to anybody. It was just kind of a inside demon in my own mind, right, in my own head, and I just had to deal with that, and that was the way I dealt with it, right? I just was, if I don't know if it was embarrassment or what, but so fast forward, you know, 25 years go by, right, and I look back, and the depression and addiction with alcohol basically robbed me of my goals and dreams for 25 years. I had lots of wins. I've always been an entrepreneur, like in the spirit and mind, and always doing side hustles, but just never fully succeeding, never winning, and there was always something holding me back, and that was, this part of it, right? And I started facing that, asking myself, talking to myself, asking those hard questions like, geez, I remember saying to myself, like, looking back at these last 25 years, do you want to continue down this path? I was ready to lose it all, right? And I wasn't prepared for that. I knew, for things to change, I had to change. And I made that decision, and it wasn't easy. Um, I failed many times over, had a lot of day ones. And it wasn't until I think October 17th of 2022, um, that was my last beer. And today I'm 1,075 days sober. So really proud of that. And like I said, part of my inspiration was, looking forward to the next 25 years. I know that I had it in me to win and to be something better for myself and for other people out there, and for my kids and my family. Number one, right? And it's so crazy, like how things happen. Like we just had our last family barbecue in Prince Albert. My mom's home her entire life. My home growing up as a kid, 40 years, and she just sold the house. And I just found out that she's now she's sober. She's her January 1st this year was her commitment to herself, and it was only because of me and my brother and our journeys of becoming sober that we inspired my mom to do it. So it's pretty awesome. Pretty proud of that.
And as you should be. And I mean, it's hard. I mean, there's a lot of people that walk that path that don't come out of it, and there's even less that come out and share their story and inspire others. And I mean, you should be very very proud of that. And I mean, shaken and just listening to your story, and it resonates with me so much. And with that story, and with people and family, and whether it be children or a loved one that you want to do better for, you were also able to find another passion that was able to come out of that. And obviously having a seat, Clem and Sim's Cedar Fire Starter, you started a company. And not that you needed any more stress and anything to add that might drive you back to addictions. Becoming an entrepreneur is not easy.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk a little bit about, why you started why you started your business, how it has helped you become, through, with this journey.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like I talk to people at trade shows, and that's why I love doing them. It just gets me in front of people and talking and hearing their stories, and sharing mine. And like this whole journey, this is my recovery project now. Like it keeps me sober and keeps me inspired. But the journey started about 7 years ago, I guess, like when I was early 40s, and looking for ways to make changes in my life to heal, right? And I just started woodworking in my garage and building stuff and for the wife. And I was like, light bulb goes off. I'm like, man, I could sell these on Marketplace, right? So put an ad on Marketplace, and boom, sold hundreds of the darn things. And it's just like, wow, like next thing you know, I'm like, geez, I should maybe turn this into a little business and get some write-offs and stuff, right? So thinking of a name, and where the name Clem and Sims came from, my grandpa, my late grandpa is Clem, and he was a carpenter by trade. And I remember, as a young boy going into his garage and just being in awe of all his tools. And he had a lot of sawdust, like way more than I did. Like he was an amazing carpenter, built stuff for us as kids. And my nickname is Sims. So that's how that got put together. And it was a way for me to honor my grandpa for giving me the genes and the skills, because like I never took any carpentry classes, but I quickly found out I was a very skilled carpenter. And at 40 years old, it's shocking because where was that? How come I didn't know I was that talented? And it was because of my mental health struggles and my addictions with alcohol, and it robbed me of that, right? So this helped me heal, and this helped me get away from that, and it became my coping mechanism. And I was woodworking and saw that business take off, and did really well. And then you know, early last year, only beginning of 24, I was, you know, had been doing a lot of work with cedar, Western red cedar, and fell in love with the smell of it. And at, staring at my own pile of sawdust in my garage, and just had a light bulb moment. You know, I looked at it and I was like, man, I got to repurpose this somehow. Like, how can I? You know, it smells amazing. It's so expensive. I didn't want to throw it away, and I just started thinking, and the idea came to me, a fire starter. I'm like, yeah, you know, let's do that. So I started experimenting and trial and error. And I remember, you know, the early stages making these things and trying them, and I was just like so excited. I was like, wow, I'm like, these are awesome. Like, people are gonna buy these, you know, it's such a great thing, great product. And it's, yeah, it's grown. It's become my therapy now. Like, that flame is something different. You know, it's not just a regular fire starter. We are Canada's best fire starter, bar none, but it's more than a fire starter because of what it does. You can just use it by itself, the therapy, and that's what I do with the coffee in the morning, tea at night. I'll sit down, I'll light one. It'll burn for up to 15 minutes, and it's so, the flame is different. It's so clean, it's so pure. It smells amazing, and it works. Like, it works. And I've got customers that are buying it just for that. And they tell me, thank you, you know, and it's so inspiring, and I love it, you know. And that's kind of how the whole journey started. And now it's growing, and we're becoming a national brand, and that's our goal. And we're only, you know, just over a year in, and it's very exciting.
And you know, I'm coming up to 350 episodes, and you would this how many stories I hear like this, that's that light bulb moment, that oh my god, I found something here, I want to use this, or there's, you know, something in this business that I can do better, or they're not doing this and my company doesn't care, so I'm gonna, you know, branch out on my own and do that, and take it slow. And I, you know, again, something that, you know, one of the what resonates with me so much is the fact that, you know, it is a therapy session for you. You have a little, you know, you have a little, you know, a little stove that you use. My wife uses candles. What, you know, everybody has something. You know, me, it's sports, it's going to the gym, whatever works for you, and whatever therapy is, you know, everybody's a little bit different. And again, if anybody wants any more information, just go to, you know, cedarfirestarters.ca, click on the link in the comment section, and you can find out more. And you know what they have. Again, when he said that, you know, they have great branding, they have great stuff, they have little kits, they have all different types of things. And and now I kind of want to dive into a little bit of the business itself, right? You know, beforehand we were talking about, you know, people say, "Oh my God, you got to do this, quit your job, go big." You know, you know, no. Side of the desk is all right, slowly but surely. You got to, you know, pay the bills, feed the family. So, why don't you talk a little bit about your journey of starting this? You know, the ups, some of the downs, some of the retailers that you've got into, and maybe even touch on the, you know, the how successfully you've been using trade shows.
Okay, yeah, no, it's been hard. Like, you know, I really see it now. Like, we're a big fan of Dragon's Den, and I watch it all the time. And I, you know, I see their struggles, and I'm always, you know, I remember one of the questions were always like, you know, their revenues are that much, and their business is valued at this much, and why are they needing capital? Like, I don't understand it. Shouldn't they have money to, you know, why are they looking? And now, like, doing my own business, and I see it, like, how cash strapped can be, and how, you know, I'm bootstrapping everything. I don't have any grants, I don't have any loans. Like, I've been using all my personal income. Like, I was fortunate that I had a really strong winter with overtime, and I put all my overtime into the business, like every penny. And yeah, like, I did all the, you know, designing, the manufacturing, like the packaging. Like, I don't know. I just did it. I started using platforms to look for hiring freelancers and you know people that are better than me that were experts at designing and packaging and working with them to no, that's not right, and we got to tweak this, we got to do that, and like I just everything had to be perfect. Like that's how I am. Like the quality is even with my garden boxes and all the woodworking. Like I strive for quality and not perfection, but like it just got to be great, like I don't skimp out on anything, and I wanted this to be like the Apple experience with your iPhone. Like when you open up the packaging, I wanted to wow the customer. Like, wow, this is awesome. Like, wow, this is a great product. Wow, it smells great. And I think I've done that, and it's
All right.
awesome. It didn't happen overnight. Like, it took us about 6 months of designing, and yeah, that's it there.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna. You keep talking. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
show.
And it just I run with ideas. An idea will come to my head, and I'll just like, oh, I got to do thank you cards, or we got to get matches in there and QR codes and all that stuff, right? I want it to be better, and it all started with Amazon, right? When I thought of creating my own fire starter product, I went to Amazon and I bought all the products off Amazon and brought them home, and quickly realized that even though they say made in Canada, that's false. They're made in China. And I've confirmed that with a lot of these products. I've talked to the manufacturer in China that does majority of the fire starters in Canada, and they all come from there. And it might be warehoused to a place in Canada or came up with the idea, but you know, anyways, like I just picked apart the packaging and the product and tested theirs and just wrote down everything that I didn't like, and I said, okay, well, packaging. We want to be better on packaging. We want to be better on product. We want to be competitive on price. We want to deliver more value, right? Be more than a fire starter. I'm not a race to the bottom, right? Like most of the stuff you see on the shelves right now, we're different. Our fire starter is different. It's more than a fire starter. And yeah, it's going really well.
That's and I love that, right? And you have done. I know sometimes it may not come across, on the screen here, but the packaging, talking about the mental health and the story is so important. And you've done a fantastic job. Like,
Thank
so kudos to you for what you've created and the packaging and the learning of it. And again, discussing, understanding this as an entrepreneur, learning it yourself, understanding the Google, like we talked about Facebook and ads and marketing and things along those lines. But one of the things that you've done, and I've had a lot of success with trade shows in my life. And I was on a trade show discussion probably about a year and a half ago talking about those successes. And a lot of people say, trade shows are a waste of time. And obviously they can be if you do it
Yeah.
wrong. So I want you to just to touch a little bit on the trade shows, what you're doing, and the importance of trade shows, and we don't have to talk about numbers and sales and things along those lines, but the efficiency of being in the right trade shows and how they're working
Yeah,
for
no,
you.
it's been a great success. We just had our 1 year reunion with my first trade show. It's at an event here in Saskatchewan called Ecom, and it's in September. And that was my first trade show last year. Was September on my daughter's birthday, and I remember looking back, pictures. I just had a little table and my product, and that's it. I just had the box that you showed there, and I had nothing else. Maybe I think I had a banner, and that's it. And we had such a successful show, and I was just like, man, this is so awesome. Like, the interactions with the people and all. I don't know, I think I sold like 44 boxes that day, and I was just like driving home. I'm like all excited. I had a lot of cash, and I was like, man, the belief rose, like it grew, right? And I just like, man, like this is awesome. And so yeah, I just from that it snowballed. I wanted to get into more trade shows, and so the first year was a lot of trial. Like I was going into anything, right? Anything local. Christmas was big. There's a lot of Christmas shows, and but none of them are really targeted to my niche, like my product, right? So the focus this year is to get into more outdoor type themed shows. Like I've been doing like a couple shows with the Trappers Association, and that's been phenomenal. Getting in front of those people and in that community, doing some hunting and fishing shows, sports and outdoors, sports and leisure, homestyle type shows. We're doing really well, right? So I want to get into more of those and some of the bigger ones, and that's the goal going forward. But it all started on Facebook Marketplace, like selling my fire starters locally and delivering them all over the city, and you know, just any chance I had, like exceptional service. Like people are just blown away by like, man, I just ordered this and you're here. Like it's crazy, and even shipping, like I'm my own Amazon, right? Like I wanna wow people with everything. Wow, that was fast shipping. Like we just got it in Ontario or Nova Scotia or wherever, and it's like, yeah, I send it out right away. I want to win. Like I want this to win, and part of that is doing all those little things right and exceptional, and just service is number one, and quality's not far behind, and yeah, like the trade shows, we've grown. Like we got a big booth now, and I got banners and I got table wraps, and we're just putting all the money back into the marketing, and it looks good, and hear the feedback of customers that come back and they're like, wow, your booth looks awesome, and I got all these products now, and it's really cool to see and to hear, and it's kind of a surreal moment, and it just keep going back to, this is my medicine now, this is my mission, and it is my medicine, it's my therapy, and it's wonderful. Like it works, and it works for me, and I can see the inspiration that I'm putting in others, and that's surreal. Like I can't explain what that feels like when I get messages and reviews from other people, and on the mental health side with the product and how it's helped. It's awesome.
No, that's awesome. Again, congrats on all your successes. I'm talking with Ryan, the founder of cedarfirestarters.ca. Click on the link in the comments section to find out more about the company, order the product. One of the I just kind of like one of the reasons I started telling it like it is because sometimes people have a hard time boasting and talking about themselves. So I see that map behind you. Why don't you talk a little bit about the map and talk about some of your hard work and some of the retailers that you've gotten into across Canada?
Yeah, sure. Again, this is just another idea that I had. Like well, other than the trade shows, that was my first kind of start. Then I got an online platform with Shopify, and I started building that because I wanted to ship this product all over Canada, and I do so for free. And it's very tough to do on a $25 product, but I found a way to do it. And I'm very proud of that. And so that's what this is. It's all my customers that have ordered on Shopify. So every new city I get, I pin it as best I can on the map to show where our customers are. And we're in every province across Canada. I'm really proud of that. And in a short period of time, like 1 year, and it's inspiration for me. Like I got quotes in my office here too, just to keep me inspired. And I look at that, and I look south of that too, and that's part of the mission too, is get into the US market eventually, but we want to get healthy in Canada first and get known and build there. But yeah, it's just something I put together, and the kids help me, the kids get involved, and when I get a Shopify order, we got the cash register notification, and they hear me yelling in the house because I always cheer. I get so excited. It just, and then they run down, where, Dad, where, and so I get the kids involved, and it's awesome. It's a good family thing, and they're excited to put the pins on the board, and, um, you know, so yeah, it's a lot of fun.
No, that's awesome. Future
Yeah.
entrepreneurs.
No, for sure. Actually, it's funny you say that. My daughter, she came into the kitchen one morning and she's like, "Look, Dad," and she's got a doll, and it's got a three-piece outfit on. And she's like, "I made this outfit for my Barbie." And I'm like, "Wow, how'd you do that?" And she's like, well, I had some socks, Dad, that had holes in the heel. And, instead of throwing them in the garbage, I repurposed it, Dad, and made an outfit. And I was like, man, I was like, this is it. I was like, that's it. I'm like, that's what Dad does, with the sawdust. I found a way to repurpose it and made it into something else. And man, it's just crazy how much the kids pick up on things, and yeah, so trying to encourage her as much as I can to keep going, and it's, who knows, right?
Oh yeah, you never know. You just never know, right? So what's next? What's next for Clem and Sims? Let's maybe have some short term and long term
Yeah,
goals.
short term, like I said, I'm just working on trying to scale my productions. As I do everything in house, I do all the manufacturing, all the production. I was able to manufacture a machine that I got done in China, got that shipped overseas. 700 kilogram steel machine that I use in my garage, and helped me scale. And I'm working on that. But there's other areas that we're trying to work on and to grow and manufacture, because the belief is there. The proof's in the pudding. We've got 1,250 boxes sold across Canada in our first year now, and I just want to grow that. So get into more retails. We're in a couple co-ops here locally in Saskatoon. I want to get into more of those in the rural areas and communities by lakes and stuff. We just got into our first home hardware last week in Alberta. Really excited about that. I love the company and what they're about, and supporting Canadian and stuff like that. And we want to get into more barbecue shops, wood stoves. I'm in talks with some companies out west that have larger distributorships. Canadian Tire's on my target list. Bass Pro Shop, stuff like that. We want to really grow this thing, and I believe it's a phenomenal product. We got good margins for retail. Everything works. The system is set. Been working diligently and hard on that, and yeah, I think we're ready for that next level. So that's kind of the next step here. Next 6 to 12 months, 18 months, long term, we want to be known as Canada's best fire starter, and want to be in every household, and more than a fire starter. We're one match, one brick, one fire, but it's more than that. Like we said, and it's great. Like, I think I remember one of my reviews I got from a lady down in Ontario. She said something along the lines like, it's something that you never know you needed until you tried it. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, thank you for saying that, and uh, yeah, so that's kind of the goal here. And yeah, who knows where it'll take us, right? Like, it's going to be a lot of work, and I know I can't do it all myself. I wear all the hats right now, and it's tough, but pretty proud of where we're at. And you know, it's kind of a snowball effect how things are stacking up now, and not only the success, but where so it wasn't before. Like, I talked about those small wins in the past. Like, I did financial services. I got licensed in mutual funds and life insurance, and I did that for a few years. And I sold health products and direct marketing, and I got dabbled in all these side hustles over my years, right? And just never reaching that peak, that top, that success, that win. There's always something bringing me back, and no snowball effect, and building and growing, and it's so clear now. Like, my mind is so clear. 1,075 days today, and that's part of it. Like, I've been able to roll with that and build on that, and grow with that, and that's been my story. So it's been working.
Well, I love that, and well, obviously it's been working. And again, kudos to the finding something, finding your passion, finding something that helps for you, right? And whatever helps for somebody that is out there that is struggling. It is hard to take that first step. So if you are looking, there are people that you can talk to. There are, And I'm sure, Ryan, you would probably say, hey, give me a call, right? Like, if you
Yeah,
just want a shoulder to cry on, like whatever it
absolutely.
is, there's people out there, right? We had, unfortunately, 3 entrepreneurs take their own lives last year in Calgary. And, that's something that we'd never want to see. And again, finding what works for you is extremely important. And that kind of leads into my last question. And I've been asking this question for a lot of episodes, but I'm going to kind of put a little twist on it, just for you to, just because, we've had such a good, mental health discussion here, and if you had one piece of advice for a person that's wanting to reach out for help, what would that be?
That's an excellent question. You just to touch back, you mentioned about the suicides and stuff. Just I still work full time, and I got a couple work colleagues that have taken their own life, and stuff like that. And that's another part of my mission is hopefully that never happens again, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, having close friendships with these people and seeing the effects that it's had. And then relating my own personal experience and journey. It's tough, but like for advice out there, like I did take counseling throughout the years because I was trying to reach out to try to get some help. But anybody close to me, like I just kept it inside, right? But my advice, I guess, would be like don't wait for rock bottom. I know what that looks like. Um, speak out. All it takes is one conversation, right, to get started. And for me, that conversation was with myself and being real with where I was at, you know, and where I wanted to go. And yeah, so like, whether you're looking to start a fire or light one inside yourself, like we're, it's just, it's there, right? Like there's help out there. And, I just really hope that my story helps people and can inspire others and just shows what's possible, right?
And that's why we have these conversations. And thank you for saying that. And it is, I've got one more quote for you to put up there, other than the one I use on LinkedIn that people are always scared to use, but I say steal away, and that was keep on being awesome. But I always say, and I've been saying it for a long time, is that a company is only as healthy as its founder. And a lot of what you said relates to that. And there will be days that you sit there and say, oh shit, man, like this is awful. What am I going to do? I mean, I have those days. I know everybody has those days, but again, it's that keep on being forward. It's maybe going to a founders coffee in Calgary here, or going to a networking event, or phoning up a buddy and saying, hey, I just need to, let's go for coffee. I just need to talk to somebody. And it could be something as just as simple as that.
Yeah. And even like other people too, right? Like just simple question like, hey, how are you today? Like how are you today, right? Like everybody's got their own baggage or whatever you want to say, when you go to work and stuff. Like I'm a supervisor and I got a whole crew that I deal with, and it's like, man, like how are you doing today? And it's like we're there as a supervisor, like, people lean on us, they open up to us and they get personal, and they all know my story and my journey too, right? And we've got, our employer, they really advocate mental health and all that, and it's great, like having that support, right? And letting people know that there's tools out there. And like I for so many years I kept it inside, and it was a dark, dark, lonely place. And it's hard to get out of it, but boy, is it worth it. I tell you, it is worth it. And not like the money or the success or any of that stuff. It has nothing to do with that. It's just how more complete you feel inside. It's incredible. And it's kind of like I knew what I was missing, right? And another part was, my partner, my wife, my beautiful wife. Like, I love her to death. Like, when she came into my life 12 years ago, like, that was a huge missing piece that I needed to complete me, and to and I give credit to her to for my healing, and getting me to through all that, because that connection helped me get to where I am, right? With Clem and Sims, and the idea, and the woodworking, and all that. Like, none of that would have been possible had I not met her, and she gave me that, right? So I had that final closure with my family, and something that I always wanted, and we've built off that. So
Well, it's a journey. It's a journey you don't have to take alone in business and in life, and that is in a very, very important point. And and it's definitely something. And if you are looking to reach out, you have a founder's coffee, you have a buddy. Scrolling across the bottom, you can click on the link in the comments section. The Calgary Chamber of Commerce, we're hosting an event on the 20th for an hour and a half, where you can come in, ask questions, open up, be vulnerable. And again, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story, sharing your, being vulnerable about your addiction problems, but, and how becoming an entrepreneur and what has helped you. I mean, these stories need to get out there. These stories need to be heard, because it's not easy. Sometimes it's not fun. And to realize that there are people struggling out there, and making success and recovering at the same time, it can all be done.
yeah, absolutely. No, I really appreciate, having me on here. And like you said, it's not easy, but like, opportunities like this, I just think of it like the growth steps, right? Like, how much more you're going to become, how much better you're going to be for yourself and for everybody out there, right? And the more and more that I do this, and it works, like, and so I appreciate reaching out, and really thanks a lot for having me here.
I appreciate it, and thanks for the comment, Keith. It is it's important. We love it. And for everybody out there, if you need help, ask for it. Again, Ryan, thank you for coming on today. Anybody wants any more information, please click on Cedar Fire Starters in the comment section. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, and we will chat soon. And I hope everybody has a great
Awesome.
week. Talk to you
Okay,
later.
thanks.